this week sucked. There's no good way to put it. The Reds had another 500 week, and they went into the trade deadline limping in, and they're limping right back out. This team didn't get any better. Did they get any worse? I mean, I don't know. Nick Martinez just went out there and pitched 5 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 5 Ks.
I do want to point that out. We did say Nick Martinez was going to be traded. Really thought that was going to happen. And looking at the tea leaves, still with the team. So some things did and didn't happen. But yeah, buddy, I feel like we really shit the bed as far as trades go, and I'm not too pleased.
No, I'm not either. And the big message from this trade deadline was, okay, we move Frankie because we saw that Nick Martinez was pitching better. Okay, that's fine. Make him expendable. He's also your second highest paid player this year. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they moved him not just because of that, but it was also a little bit of a salary dump. Mm-hmm. Joey Weimer is fine. He's never really hit at the big league level. And Jacob Junis is fine. He can give you some innings out of the bullpen. This week wasn't good to him. That appearance against the Cubs wasn't great. You kind of hope that there's a little bit more in the tank there. And Lucas Sims, you got a 19-year-old who hit 100 on a gun. You didn't go and fix your offense. What you did get was some words of encouragement saying, if we just win one extra game a week, we're still in it. And we've got Matt McClain coming back. We got Emilio Pagan coming back. We've got Brent Suter coming back. We've got all these guys coming back. Stay tuned.
Yeehaw.
In a trade deadline where they not one top 100 prospect moved, this was your chance to go and get a bat.
You had people to be moved. You had options. I don't think we can look at this other than a failure for the front office to address what was the biggest glaring issue. If they really wanted to compete for the second half or post, all-star post-trade, them not addressing the offense issue, specifically in the outfield, tells me they chose to not address this.
Yeah, they just let it ride. They just were like, whatever, this whatever. It is what it is. I mean, it also shows in what they said from Charlie Goldsmith on Twitter. The Reds were also in the buyer market, talking to teams about veteran position players and starting pitchers. Offers where the Reds could be buying, quote, came up short. Kroll said there were 1 or 2 close moves overall.
So I would like to see how close those moves were and who were they for, because if they were on the precipice of getting somebody, I mean, that would change how I feel about their approach to it. However, it doesn't change the outcome that we have of still being in the same position we were before the deadline.
Yeah, but also just slightly lateral. I mean, we covered Lucas Sims in the 8th inning and how it was not a success. Especially this year. We talked about the struggles that Frankie Montes has had of late. But the thing that was reported on The Athletic was that the Reds were just one prospect away from trading for Trevor Rogers. Fucking why?
That wasn't the issue. Like, that's not going to solve anything. Like, getting another pitcher isn't going to increase your offense.
No, yeah. You're gonna have your starter give up maybe 1 less run in an outing? He could go 6 1/3 and give up 2 earned runs, but then we only score 1, still lose.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, especially when you have pitchers like Hunter Green out there, although he got some run support as of late. But when you have a guy that's been throwing .33 over the past 5-6 starts, wherever it is,
.27.
There we go, and he only has 2 wins, I think, out of that span. That's not a pitching issue.
Yeah, that is definitely not. And it also continues with this from Nick Kroll. Our goal is not to dismantle this team. We did that in 2022 and went through a full rebuild. We could have 3 or 4 more relievers if we wanted to go down that road. We do have a shot. We wanted to give this team a shot. You didn't give them a shot by giving them a shot in the arm of offense.
Yeah, dude, that's such a cop-out for an actual response. And, of course, like, you're not going to dismantle this team. There was several key players that have gone through some injuries that changed the complexion of what this team was going to look like. So you have good players coming next year, a healthier team. But this just seems to be a response that's not giving us anything to really chew on here.
Right. And also, if you trade 3 or 4 guys, who are on expiring contracts, and then you talk about how you have this depth that's coming out and being healthy. You have dudes that you can't send back down because of that. So so you're just going to DFA them and get nothing? That's what that says to me.
Yeah, it just seems like, and this is something too that you're probably going to talk about here. It was just Crawl has a seemingly. I don't want to like knock. I'm not like calling for his head like a lot of people, but I am familiar with where the guillotine is. So, but.
Ain't far away.
Yeah, it ain't far away. So I do respect the things that Krull has done positively to get some of the new, younger talent here. However, the fixation, I think, with his prospects, as well as anything that seems to get in the way of like his perfect vision, he just can't, audible and like, dude, we got to do something here to address the issues. And he's just throwing his hands up. It's like, well, the perfect scenario I had set out didn't happen. So what am I supposed to do?
What am I supposed to do? Also, I have to keep the cost of rent down. I got to have this team's got to be rent controlled. Like they want to keep it young and have these guys come up and succeed so they don't have to pay them. I get that. I get that you got a shoestring budget. But if you want to be serious about winning and having people continue to come out to the ballpark, you have to spend a little bit more money.
Yeah, that's how you get some more revenue there. I mean, just think about like coming off of like some of Ellie's bigger games. You go in that next week on a homestand, place is packed.
Yeah.
And the amount of like jerseys that are being bought, like when you have a winning organization, that increases your revenue. So it's just hard for me to wrap my brain around like why they would choose to be middle of the road.
Because it's cheaper to buy bobbleheads and give them away than to sign a player.
That's a good answer.
It's cheaper to renovate a section of the ballpark and have the MLB's first ever sensory room instead of going to get another player. And it continues to build on your investment that is the ballpark that doesn't actually belong to them.
Very true.
You think about that. So instead, they would rather put money in on an investment that they have that's going to stick around than instead of pay a player to make the team better so that they win so that people will come. Instead, they'll be there so they can go to the Optics deck and continue to play cornhole.
Come on, man. We invested in some drones. We got some stuff to do.
Yeah, we're Canadian soccer. We have drones.
We would love to invest in players, but we need to get a hot dog luge going. Actually, no, let's get the hot dog luge.
You know what? Instead of signing a free agent bat or trading for someone like Jorge Soler, who could be here for a couple more years, has a ton of power, and in his career has hit 50 and 51 home runs in one season, we should probably get a second gun for Redzilla.
I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, we need to get some new tires for Redzilla.
You know what? What if we could take Redzilla into the river?
Yeah, we could.
We could. Wait, do we need a veteran fifth starter? No, we need to get floaties for Redzilla.
Come on, make him a land, sea, and air guy. Let's do it. Let's get some more. Let's get a ball gag for Gapper. That's what we need.
What if Redzilla fought Godzilla? That was a moonshot from Jesus Sanchez. There's a guy who was probably available for the right price.
I would say so. There's options out there, and the fact that we just seem to have tunnel vision for just a select handful of outcomes is pretty upsetting.
Yeah, dude, they could have. I know you don't want to ever trade with the Rays, but like Randy Rosarena, the one that I did mention earlier that I do want to lock in on is Jorge Soler. The Braves traded Tyler Batsick, who is hurt in the reliever, and Sabin Caballos, a 21-year-old third base prospect who didn't even sneak into the Giants' top 30 board for Jorge Soler.
Yeah.
They're just eating the money. They're like, we'll take the contract for the next 2 years, which is $16 million a year, with the rate of inflation going and how this offseason's going to go, and with Soto's deal going to be rising the tide for all other contracts. That's going to be a pretty good deal for the next couple years.
Yeah, and if it would have gone to the Reds, that's a great deal because that just really widens the lane that we have to succeed and maybe make the playoffs this year. But it just seems to be like the money just isn't worth it to them. I don't know what it is.
No. Let's look at the other one. Brian De La Cruz, who went to the Pirates, okay? He won't be a free agent until 2028. He's hitting arbitration, his first year arbitration next year, so he's still going to be pretty inexpensive. The Pirates dealt Garrett Forrester and pitching prospect Yun Suk Shim That's a fun one. Yun Suk Shim.
It's a fun name, buddy.
Suk Shim moves into the 20th spot in the Fishes prospect. Oh God, Jacob Junis again. Nope, we're good. It's on the warning track. Yun Suk Shim he moved into their 20th spot on their top 30th prospects according to MLB.com. Brian De La Cruz has 18 homers this season, had a career high 19 in 153 games last year. Again, in a massive ballpark in Miami at the Fish Tank. Mm-hmm. They didn't give up like shit.
No.
They gave up some guys. No top 100 prospect was traded at the trade deadline. Of course, it was a seller's market if you looked at it that way. If I'm looking at it as that was a buyer's market, I didn't have to get rid of any of my top guys to go get some solid pieces.
Yeah, and with the way the Reds' offense is going, especially in right field, almost any addition that you have is going to be above a lateral move. And there was plenty of prospects that the Reds have. Granted, there's some good ones, but you can trade it in for current applicable talent right now.
Right now. And they didn't. And instead they go, well, McLean is coming back. Could. He doesn't think so. I'm leaning towards not too. Maybe Jake Fraley starts to hit. Maybe Will Benson turns a corner and finds some consistency for the rest of the year after he comes back from the maternity list. Maybe.
This is what we're banking on. It's a bunch of maybes, hopes, and just making sure the gang's all going to be back together. Things are just going to work out swell.
It's going to be great. We're just going to keep going the way we're going because expected wins and losses are actually real wins and losses.
How about it?
How crazy. Did you know that?
I didn't know it.
I didn't either. Damn. Did you know that? Who cares about if you actually go out and score runs, win or lose games? The Pythagorean theorem has got you covered.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We got plenty of time. It's just August.
Yeah, it's just August. And
Who cares?
It's just another year that you're wasting of Ellie De La Cruz. It's just another year you're wasting of all of this young, controllable talent. Another year that you're wasting of Hunter Green. Another year wasting of Nick Lodolo. Another year you're wasting of Andrew Abbott. Another year you're wasting of Carson Spires. Another year that you're wasting of Alexis Diaz. All of these dudes that are young and controllable and cheap. Throw it away.
But we did have some great bobbleheads this year. Terrific. Great job, front office.
We did a great job. We also installed the Laura's Lean Beef's wet slide in center field that if you cover yourself in enough marinara, you can slide down like the fat little meatball you are.
And you land in a big pile of jus.
Don't forget to grab your complimentary mozzarella towel on the way out.
It smells like onions.
The more you use it, it turns to curds.
My blanket's curdling.
It's just like, look, I understand a lot of people's frustrations. I get it. I'm not saying fire crawl. I'm not saying sell the team. And for fuck's sake, I'm not saying fire David Bell.
No.
What I am saying is be better. Be better because everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Jobs, hobbies, life, love, whatever it may be. You are good at some things in relationships and you're bad at some things in relationships. Mm-hmm. And Kral's bad thing is just costing the Reds an opportunity to go from under 500 to be in the race, solidifying it, and going to the playoffs and bringing thousands of people happiness.
Yeah, dude. He gets right up to the line, and then he gets flaccid. He just can't make the move.
No, he can't. You know what? I think he's just a big edge guy.
He could be.
He's a big edger. Mm-hmm. Massive edger. It just, man, it's, okay. What can you do? Okay, I've got it. 2020, this offseason, what are your expectations?
2020 this offseason?
What are your expectations the 2024, 2025 offseason?
Okay, my expectations is to make sure the team comes back healthy, make sure we're doing the right things to have a solid group of guys, specifically in terms of everyone's going to be able to play 162 if possible, and add to the offense. We have to add at least 1-2 more bats. We need to have a solution for what is clearly the biggest issue that the Reds have. So making sure that we are on a good track health-wise, as well as figuring out what's going on in right field.
I agree. Here's the problem. Those are my expectations for the offseason. I'm with you on power right fielder. The problem is you go into this offseason, you're losing Buck Farmer, Ian Jabot, Justin Wilson, Nick Martinez, Emilio Pagan. And you have to sign a right fielder. It would have been easier for them to go and make a move for a bat right now and go for it than completely have to retool and rebuild this bullpen this offseason.
Yeah, so them sitting back on their hands is causing an issue that we're going to cross later, next season.
Which Carl should have acknowledged that instead of being like, well, there's some guys that are out of options. It's like that also means that there's going to be more work that you're going to have to do to make this team just as good next year.
Exactly. That doesn't mean it's going to get easier next year. That means the options are going to be fewer, potentially. If it's difficult now, well, what's going to happen next year when we're losing a bunch of guys and have less leverage?
Yeah, and you're rolling the dice when you have to get into the free agency pool of relievers. And we saw that with Emilio Pagan. He's been out most of the year. Mm-hmm. Brent Suter's got that injury, but he's recovering faster. He'll be back in the next 2 weeks. But still, that's a lot that you're going to take a gamble on. Instead, you'd rather hold on to your 33rd, 19-year-old prospect out at Daytona. Mm-hmm. And he could be a maybe. And not go and trade for someone like any of the dudes that we mentioned.
Those are our favorite players, Hope and Prayer.
Hope and Prayer.